KILR Killer Game.
Hello gamers, simmers, and pilots. I am the Killer Gamer, and welcome to the World Tour featuring Microsoft Flight Simulator 3. Well, the sun is on its way down, so we are experiencing dusk here just by having a dark blue sky and the ground, which would look like night for the most part. But let's go ahead and talk about the flight that we're going to be doing here. We'll just go ahead and pull up the map. We're here at Sheboygan, just because it's an interesting name. One of these days we'll get there on X-Plane 11, and X-Plane 11 I do the documentaries of where it is that we're going and what happens to be there. So it'll be interesting when we actually get there for Sheboygan to see what's there. It's gonna be a while because those later simulators are heading off to Canada and all the way north into Nunavut and the Northwestern Territories and all that. And they'll make their way back down, and then they will meet back at La Crosse and start following the flights that we've been doing since La Crosse. So you're getting a nice little preview of things that will be coming, like 50 years from now. With the other simulators. Oh my goodness, I hope not. But who knows? I might be this, really old man by the time I get done with these videos. YouTube may not even exist. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? Anyway, we are going from Sheboygan, and we are going right here to Milwaukee. I knew it started with an M. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, at the General Mitchell Field. So we'll do what we did on the other simulators. What I did was tune in Timmy, and then from there we would take a it's hard to see what degrees that is because of it's all covered, so it's kind of annoying. I don't know, what is that, 120 or something like that. Maybe 130. We'll say 130. Okay, so the first order of business, we're going to be tuning in Timmerman on both Nav1 and Nav2, and you'll see why here. 112.5. Okay, so for Nav, hold on, we don't want to go from, we want to go to. I wonder if nope, that didn't work. I was just wondering if I went into mouse mode, if I would actually be able to make it go quicker. So we're going to center the needles so that way we know which way to go for Timma. Okay, so 190 degrees. Now we have our ADF here from the last flight. We don't need that, so we're going to go into Navcom menu, go down here to Nav Radio, and we're going to activate the VOR2 gauge, just like that. And we want to set this for, it was 130. Let's go back to the navcom. And then we can use E and F to quickly, we won't have to click, 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 click the whole way. But you can see, we can just quickly, there we go. Now, in Flight Simulator 4 and later, you can actually click and hold and it works. But this one, you have to click, 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 click. It's kind of annoying. So that is a better way that you can use to set your heading in case you're wanting to go back to Flight Simulator 3 and fool around with it, or perhaps you want to follow along with me, and that would be cool too. You know what would be awesome is if, you know how some people, they will do like reaction videos? I'm not saying so much as doing a reaction video to my video, but if you had my video in the background, let's say like in a little window or something, and then you had you playing yours and actually following along with me, that would be cool. I'd watch it. I would watch it. And I would give you a shout out, you know, on the channel and everything. So if you guys want to do that, I'm okay with that. I am totally okay with that. Just leave a link to the original video, and you know, I would appreciate it. So anyway, I think we're all set. So let's go ahead and get everything started. That wonderful engine sound that we've got. Okay, we're going to use this, I think we might use this runway. There's another one I think we passed. Could use that one. I think we'll use that one. Got 7 minutes until total darkness. Well, it won't be complete dark, but this shouldn't be too long of a flight. We are making our way south to Chicago again. We're going to hit a few more airports around that area, and then we are going to be crossing Lake Michigan and going into Michigan, and we'll be flying in those areas, and then we will continue east and we'll be in a whole new scenery disk. Now what I'm excited for is Scenery Disc 12. Scenery Disc 12 will be completely new to me. I have never had Scenery Disc 12. It was never made for the Commodore 64. Actually, I think I did have it for the Amiga. I may have had it for the Amiga, so yeah, now that I think about it. So okay, so it won't be totally new. But I don't think I flew it very much in that area. I mean, a lot of these I haven't flown that much. Like I didn't really fly in these areas. I think I'm doing more flying now on these old simulators than I ever did. With all these airports and stuff that I'm going to. Alright, take off. And I think that's mainly because on the, like the Commodore 64, I didn't want to, like land at all the small airports. I wanted to go to the big airports, like Dallas and St. Louis and Denver. All right, landing gear up. Say goodbye to Sheboygan. Lake Michigan's over there somewhere. Go ahead and turn this way. So you can see that's the city of Sheboygan there, and then Lake Michigan is right beyond that, right there, that dark blue. This is the first simulator where we actually got stars in the sky, and I think they're actual constellations, I think. And a moon. No moon phases. Alright, we're going to go ahead and level off here. It's only 37 miles to Timmerman. So I don't think we need to be too high in altitude. I think we'll just keep it around 3,500. We're centered on 190 for the OBI, so let's go ahead and match that heading. Now VFR wise, I bet we could follow that road and that will take us to Milwaukee. You can see a little bit of Lake Michigan out here also. And just in case you have any doubts, we can just pull up the map here and zoom out, and there you go. You can see where we're at. So yes, indeed, we are flying in this area. Now I have to do this. See what you made me do. Yep, I am not making these up. I'm actually flying to those locations on the scenery disk. So if you've ever wanted to know what they look like beyond the lines and the polygons and stuff, well, here you go. This is it. This is what it would have been like, or this is what it was like back when the simulator was out. Boom! Nighttime! Okay, well, let's go ahead and dig back into our Flight Simulator 3 manual. We're going to talk about radio operation, operating the radio. So, VOR, navigation radios, NAV1 and NAV2. Now, I know some of you probably already know this, but I may get some viewers who have never played Flight Simulator. They may be new to aviation, and they may be looking at these videos wondering, hey, what is this about? How do you control stuff? And, well, that's why I'm going through this. The nav radio is an important navigational aid. It is used to tune in VOR radio beacons so you can fly toward or away from them. 2 nav radios are provided so that you can tune in 2 VOR beacons at once. This is useful for doing cross-checks of your position. You must set the nav radio to the VOR frequency to receive the appropriate signal. That goes without saying. On a real aircraft, 2 knobs are used to set the frequency. One sets the full megahertz, such as 121 and 122, and the other sets the fractional frequencies in 50 kilohertz increments, so 0.00, 0.05, 0.10, like you see here, 0.80, 0.50. Many new radios are 720 channel models with 25 kilohertz increments. So we start seeing the 25 kilohertz increments in, was it Flight Simulator 2002? I know it's in FSX and Prepared and X-Plane. If it's in FSX, I'm pretty sure it's in FS9. And FS9 was built off of Flight Simulator 8, which is 2002. So I'm kind of thinking it started there. I don't think it was 98 and 2000. None of these intermediate frequencies are implemented on Flight Simulator yet. Setting the nav radio. You can press the nav key, which is N. Just as a reminder, here it is, N. Press the radio number, so N1, N2. And then you press the plus or minus keys on the main keyboard, not the numerical keypad, because that's used for something else, to advance or move back the current setting until you reach the desired megahertz frequency. Press the N key twice in rapid succession, and then the plus or minus key, and that makes it go down. So another good reason for reading this is we'll learn some keyboard shortcuts, which is really going to be helpful. Let's do that. Let's try this with nav2. So we're going to hit N2 plus minus. Okay, see how it's going down and up? Now we hit NN, and there it goes. Okay, so that's cool. That works out pretty well. And that is pretty much the same for the older like Microsoft Flight Simulator 2 as well. Pressing the radio number after the N key is necessary only if you want to tune a nav radio other than the one you most recently tuned. And then it gives an example. You can also change it from the nav menu. We saw that because we were turning off the ADF, and we changed the heading on here. There's probably a shortcut for the heading, and if there is, oh, that'll be great. To set nav frequencies using the mouse, point to the right or left of the digit you want to change. The nav1 radio is also used to tune in ILS localizer and glide slope. For detailed information about instrument flying, consult an instrument flight training manual. Don't use this. Omni Bearing Indicator, OBI, not to be confused with OBS, which I've done on these videos. OBS is what you use to record with. OBI are the two instruments here that resemble stopwatches. The OBI is used with the nav radio to tune into VOR, very high frequency omnidirectional range radio stations. VORs are radio stations that transmit an omnidirectional synchronization signal followed by a circular sweeping directional signal. The nav receiver in the aircraft decodes these signals to determine what angle or radio you are on. Radios can be thought of as directional beams radiating outward from the VOR station like spokes of a wheel, like a bicycle wheel, or a space station that is, Anyway, the OBI or VOR indicator is a panel-mounted instrument that lets you determine what VOR radio your plane is currently on. It also helps you fly along radios toward or away from the VOR station, just like what we're doing here. So we're flying to it. The radio is 190. We've moved over to 189, but that's okay. You got two OBIs are provided, the top and the bottom one. And as we know, we can change this bottom one to an ADF. So setting the OBI, we press the V key. And then if you want to adjust an OBI other than the one you most recently adjusted, press 1 for the top and 2. Okay. So plus or minus. Well, I think we found our shortcut. Change OBI. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Change OBI setting using the mouse by clicking on the OBI adjustment knob. Click the left side of the knob to decrease, right side to increase. OBI 2 and the ADF indicator share instrument panel space. For information about switching, see the ADF VOR selector below. Alright, we'll get to that a little later. So let's try that. Let's go V2. And let me just hold the plus button. Oh, look at that. Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay, well, we no longer have to go to the menu anymore. Now, this is why I'm going through these manuals. It's also for me too, so that way I can. I mean, yeah, I know how to fly the flight simulators, but there's tiny little things in there that are sometimes helpful, and especially with these old simulators. And plus, I don't know, it kind of sets the mood, like kind of like you're back in that era with the simulator, and you're kind of flying it, you're going through the manual. It adds something, I think. My allergies are bothering me. So we're not going to see the lake now. It's totally dark. But that is Milwaukee right ahead of us. And these dots are just texture, is all that is, which you can turn on or off, or you can change it to like rectangles, but I don't think you see the rectangles at night. But you do see these dots. I think these dots are supposed to represent like lights on the ground, like houses and stuff. So if you wanted to do a little bit of role-playing, you could turn these off, and then when you get close to a city, and then turn them on. Now, they won't appear on top of the polygons. And this is done by the simulator itself. It's not part of the scenery. We don't use the dots on Flight Simulator 4. I use the large rectangles. I don't see that. There's a small rectangles. I don't see the purpose of it because I never see it. Whenever I turn it on, I never see anything. So I'm sure there's something. I just never see it. So I use large rectangles on that. And then it kind of breaks up the monotony of the ground, and it use a little imagination. It looks like there's farmlands and stuff. Works out pretty nicely. And it mixes in really nice with the USA East and USA West collections, because they've taken the scenery up a notch from the original scenery discs. And we started off using the default scenery with Flight Simulator 4, and also going to scenery disc number 9, because I didn't have the USA East and West at that time. I do now, but the simulators are going to be taken off into Canada, so we'll be using it. That's why I have a separate series out right now called Flight Simulator 4 Adventures, the SubLogic USA Tour. That will give me a chance to make use of the scenery and do something with cinematics, and also programming adventures for Flight Simulator 4. So that way it's got air traffic control and chatter and all this fun stuff. So if you haven't watched them, be sure to watch them. They're a trip. They are really a trip. I think I've pushed Flight Simulator 4 beyond anyone's imagination back in that day, that they would have never really thought, as far as actually having the pilot and air traffic control talking to each other, and the chatter and everything. Okay, that airport is Waukesha. No. Sorry, that's the Timmerman Airport. That's Lawrence J. Timmerman. Who is Lawrence J. Timmerman? Let's find out. Let's find out who this fella is here. Lawrence J. Timmerman. Well, I don't have a picture of him, at least not yet. He was born in Milwaukee. He worked in the United States Post Office as a railway postal clerk. He got his Bachelor of Laws degree from Marquette University, which had taken over Milwaukee Law School, where he had been studying. He practiced law in 1923. Timmerman served in the Wisconsin State Assembly and was a Republican, and then served on the Milwaukee County Wisconsin Board of Supervisors from 1923 until his death in 1959. He was 36 years old. Wow. His son was Lawrence W. Timmerman, who also served in the Wisconsin Assembly and the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors. Timmerman died in Milwaukee. The Lawrence J. Timmerman Airport was named after him. Yeah, not really. Maybe that's him. George Bell Timmerman. Well, no, that's not him. "36 years old. Wow." That road there is probably going out to Madison, Wisconsin. This one here. And we were there not long ago. Okay, that airport over there, that's Waukesha. Right there. Okay, so the airport, there's a notch in the city, like right over here. and that's where the airport's going to be. And the scenery is practically the same as the Flight Simulator 2, so it's going to be in the same spot. Unfortunately, for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, I'm not able to get any flights done in this particular area at this time. That has to do with the copy protection on the disk itself. I think I have a teledisk image, but I don't have... I think you're supposed to be able to read a teledisk image on PCEM, but I haven't gotten it to work, and I haven't been able to get Flight Simulator 2 to work on it. The only way I got Flight Simulator 2, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2, to work along with the scenery disk without it freezing was using dfend, D-F-E-N-D for the front end for DOSBox. That's the only way I've been able to get it to work. And with the regular DOS image, because you have to convert the teledisk to a DOS image, and since it was copy protected, the way they had to do it, they had to bypass some of the tracks that the copy protection was on. And when that happened, it wound up taking chunks of the scenery out. So this whole area, to include Chicago O'Hare, it's like you see it from a distance, but then as you get up to it, it vanishes. It's all gone. Okay, we're going to go ahead and turn here. And I thought maybe that was just how the scenery discs were at first. Like the Microsoft version just didn't have them for some reason. Of course, Chicago O'Hare was kind of weird. That shouldn't have happened there. So I figured, okay, let me check it on Flight Simulator 3. Because the scenery discs for Flight Simulator 2, you use a converter on Flight Simulator 3 to convert them to scenery files. And they work. The scenery discs work here. Obviously, I'm in the area, so no problem. And they were converted from the original either the original floppies or the teledisc versions. I don't know whoever did it. So the scenery discs are intact. And when it comes to Flight Simulator 3 and Flight Simulator 4. Now, if there is a way to convert the scenery file back, I don't think there is, but if there's a way to reverse engineer it so you can convert it back to a compatible FS2 file, then we might actually be able to fly in the missing areas. The only other thing that I would be able to do is to get a 5 1/4 drive, put the teledisk program on there, write the image, there's our airport, write the image to a floppy, and then try to hook that floppy up somehow to my regular computer, the computer I'm using now, and try to tie it in to PC emulator or DOSBox or something and try to load the scenery discs that way. And yeah, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do that. Okay. So we are coming in. Go ahead and Put our landing gear down, bring down some flaps, and we will start our descent. I think really the only way I'm going to be able to do it is to whoops, got a turn here. I know the runway that we want is over here in the corner, so I can sort of see it. So the only way that I can think of to do this, and I wasn't able to get it to work on PC emulator, if it can read teledisc images, and I can get Flight Simulator 2 to work on PC emulator, then I'll be able to do those missing flights there. And I'm really hoping I can do that. Otherwise, the only other way I can think of is somehow getting a 5 1/4 drive, hooking it up to my PC, maybe with a parallel to USB adapter, which I don't know if that would work. I was kind of looking into that, and I think some people were saying that the way the 5 1/4 drive works, that it won't be able to read correctly unless it's through a parallel port, so I might have to rebuild one of my old computers that has a parallel port and put the emulator on there and then record it. Yeah, it sounds like a royal pain, but I'd like to be able to get these missing areas in Flight Simulator 2 and have a, complete flight, a complete tour. Let's see. Does Milwaukee have an ATIS? No, it does not. I can sort of see the runway because there's like a little notch or something just kind of coming out here. So you got to look at it very carefully. And I'll tell you, if you can fly the old simulators and get yourself landed at an airport, it feels like an accomplishment because it's an old simulator, and you don't have the benefit of all the nice graphics and stuff. You see it? We're turning over in that direction now. This one's got a few runways. It's got like one at an angle. There it is. Another one there, another one there, another one there. This is where you want to use your artificial horizon, because you can't see the horizon at all. And, well, this is not going to help you because that's the shape of the city. Okay, so we're going to bring down another thing of flaps. Let's get ourselves slowed down some more. You see what I meant about the dots? You don't see them on the actual city. That would be kind of cool if you could. So you only see it out here. Now that's one of the things that's on the USA East and USA West is the cities, especially like Chicago. You see like little blue lights and red lights and green lights, and it really livens up the area. It really looks kind of cool. Ooh, there's another airport out there. That is Horlick out there, over to the right. So out here, that's Horlick. Coming in a bit too high here. Trying to get ourselves moved over. Bringing our power down. Trying to get ourselves centered. It's like you think you're centered, and then as you get closer you realize, no, I'm not centered at all. So, flaps up. Let's go ahead and brake here. We don't need fuel, but I'm wondering, I think there's supposed to be fuel here. Come on. There we go. Well, there's no taxiways, that's for sure. Okay, well, I don't see any fuel, so that's alright. So we'll go forward and we'll just park over here in the corner. Okay. I hate when the keyboard shortcut doesn't quite work the way you want it to. moving off the runway. Whenever there aren't taxiways and there's more than one runway, I usually just come over here into the corner and park. That way I don't lose track of where the runways are at. Here it's not so hard as far as the 3D goes, but on the Commodore 64, it's just like flat. It's really hard to get a sense of 3D because the pixels are bigger. But go ahead and shut that off there, and we are good to go. And it's nighttime, so we got some night flying ahead of us. I always try to get a little bit of both in here, so you know what's coming up on the next episode. But as far as that's concerned, if you did like this episode, please leave a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it, and your fellow viewers out there will also appreciate it, so that way you know, other viewers, they might be interested in this type of in these flights, so they may not know it's even out there unless we get some more likes going on the videos. So any like that can be added really helps. And subscribing, let's build our community up. That's a great thing. And the notification bell, just for you. It's just for you. It's my gift to you. It's actually YouTube's gift, but it's to help you out, so that way you get notification when there's a new video that's been uploaded to the channel. And I think it will also notify you whenever I've got premieres that are coming. And I'm going to try to get some new premieres of different types of things, just to kind of add a little bit of excitement to the channel. So, and then they may not necessarily be Flight Simulator, and I'm not going to run a premiere on every single thing that I do, but, you know, just kind of new stuff, or maybe stuff that's been away for a while that I'm bringing back. So you should get notifications on that also. But hey, other than that, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next leg of our journey.